Hello, 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 everyone. I am back for a round two. Welcome to Beyond the Veil. Let me fix my. Okay, I ain't gotta. Hold on. Let me fix my hair. Oh, yes, yes. Okay. I think I'm ready. This ain't even my Beyonce reading. I'm gonna say that for live. Is this my Beyonce reading? Yes. Hold on, guys. This is my Beyonce reading. I think I'm ready. Been locked up in the house way too long. Yes. I have some readings that I'm saving for a live tonight, like Keri Hilson. We're going to chat about that. We're going to chat together about that. Keri Hilson and the whole Turning Me On remix debacle from back in the day. I was there. I wasn't too young. I was, old enough and young enough to be very present and aware when that was going on. And even without the cards, child, I can't wait to talk about that because I have opinions. But Beyonce, we're at a dance party with Beyonce. I'm curious to know what she thinks about Keri Hilson right now doing all of this, because for all of you who saw the post that I typed out yesterday in response to the Forbes billionaire list and the 23 black billionaires on that list, Jay-Z is one of them, Oprah is one of them. Is it Jordan, Michael Jordan's ex-wife, or Bill Johnson, the Johnson lady, the lady who was married to the man who used to own BET? I think that's who she is. But anyway, she's on there. They say Oprah is the richest black woman in the world. But anyways, I did a post on that yesterday to inquire about what it took for a black person to become a billionaire. That just doesn't happen. However, in that post, even though I don't know if Beyonce was on that list because I didn't read the entire list, I wanted to see her perspective on her soul. Based on the things that I saw about millionaires, I wanted to know if Beyonce had any concerns for her soul based on what she had to do to become as wealthy and powerful as she is. And remember, I said Beyonce is concerned about some things that she did in the past, revisiting her. Ironically, this Keri Hilson situation has become a thing. Now, I'm not in the belief that Beyonce is on a pedestal. And I don't put Beyonce on a pedestal, but I also do not put her underneath my feet. I do believe that there is a lot of worship around her, but I think that has more to do with the people who do it than it does with her. And so I don't put her down because other people put her up high. The lady is talented, with or without, with whatever other means, spiritual or otherwise, that helped her get there. She's talented undeniably. And so when people are talented undeniably, but they're propped up by a machine, it just is what it is. But I don't take away from their talent. And that's how I feel about Beyonce in this situation. Because when you are as polarizing as people like Beyonce or even Nicki Minaj, because you either hate them or you love them, and people get very strong reactions to them, you can create. And I was going to save this for doing the reading on Nicki Minaj to see how she feels about her placement in on that Billboard list. When you're that great and polarizing, you can create a whole new market for your haters to thrive off of. Think of it like this. Beyonce is a tree. You shake her, and you're going to get a lot of people who love her. You're also going to get a good, hefty amount of people who have an adverse reaction to her for whatever reason, whether she's their cup of tea, whether they're a hater, whether they are anti because she's so well loved, because you do have people who will be contrary just to be contrary. With that nice handful of people who don't really love you, somebody who cannot compete with you can create a market off of those people who don't want to support you for whatever reason. It's the same thing with Nicki Minaj that I noticed. Nicki Minaj had the game in a chokehold. I was there. I'm not a fan of hers. I'm not a fan of anybody else's but my own. I just enjoy, art when people make good art from time to time. I think Nicki Minaj is really talented. Like I think a lot of people are. And I do believe she deserves whatever accolades she gets. But we're not going to sit here and pretend like when she came in, it was very dry. She came in, shook the game up. She was a cultural reset. She had people doing things culturally, that changed the game. And it made a lot of people feel uncomfortable. You had the older rap girls who were before her, and they weren't doing anything at the moment. They was just chilling. It was kind of quiet. They came out, after Nicki Minaj came out and rewoke the scene up, but now she's dominating in lanes that they've already dominated in and were okay with being the last ones to dominate. Then somebody else came and kind of started challenging them. The problem was they couldn't keep up because this was a new wave. Like 10 years or so had passed by when those girls weren't dominating in their peak, in their prime. They couldn't keep up with her talent. And I believe that her talent lyrically is better than a lot of theirs. I think her talent lyrically is better than a lot of her male peers. I mean, her pen game, when she's not being, really commercial, I think she can create really, really, really good. And we've seen her do that on Monster. We've seen her do that time and time again. And because of the way her contract was set up at the time, it wasn't a contract that was as controlling as some of the other contracts before her. Not only did she have a more decent contract than what was the norm for women, she came and she monopolized it. She naturally shifted the culture. This made the executives feel away because they weren't able to suck all the money out of everything she did. So they shook the tree. They start shaking the tree to see just how many people loved her and if they can find enough people who didn't so that they can start marketing other girls towards them. And they did. They did. So anyways, I say all that to say that I saw that Beyonce was concerned about some things that she's done in regards to her soul. She's concerned about some things she's done in the past, karmically being a problem with her. Ironically, this Keri Hilson situation. And I'm of the belief that Beyonce X'd her career. And my thing is, if you are powerful and you have an enemy, what are you going to do? Are you not going to off with their heads? That's just what you do when you have an enemy. You guys are, us normal people have enemies that we don't spare. So if Beyonce has the power to not spare her enemy, obviously she's not going to spare them. That's just war. If you're going to pick a battle with the giant, make sure you're David. And that means make sure that your one shot will hit them where it counts. In the soft spot where it can take their life. She missed. And so Beyonce shot back and took her down. And not only that, but the Beehive. I was there. Beyonce might have stopped her behind the scenes, but Keri Hilson was windmilling the Beehives online. I saw it in the MySpace and those places. She was windmilling with the Beehive, and rightfully so. She has every right to fight back. These are all choices and consequences, so there is no right or wrong here. But she wasn't remorseful that much to where after she saw the reaction and how it may have made Beyonce and her fans feel, if she felt forced to do it, she might have then, even when she was defending herself online with Beyonce's fans, she would have apologized back then. But no, she was going in with the fans like, y'all need to get a life. You know, y'all da-da-da-da-da-da. You ain't got to like me, but move on. You know, and so here we are. And now I just believe, so I do not believe that Beyonce is regretful about ruining Keri Hilson's career. I just thought it was ironic that I mentioned her in regards to her wealth and what it took for her to become wealthy, what it may have meant for her soul, and if she had any concerns, and I see that she did. Then the Keri Hilson situation came out, and I was like, how ironic. Anyways, Beyonce, I want to see how she feels right now about Keri Hilson going on this campaign to promote herself. Because what Keri Hilson, I believe what she's doing is she's aware that now Beyonce is not as on a pedestal by the general public. Her pedestal has been chipped at a little bit over time. And so now is a good time for Keri Hilson to be supported by people who have fallen out of favor with Beyonce or are tired of Beyonce or whatever. There's a good market for someone who doesn't care for Beyonce, you know, but I don't think that Keri Hilson, and I'm going to read her tonight on live, but I don't think this is going to help you either, to be honest. And I'm not against Keri Hilson. I just don't think reviving this is going to help you. And yes, they ask the questions, but you guys know that they have to get the questions that they ask approved. Keri Hilson understands before they go on air what questions and what topics are going to be brought up, because she agrees to what she will talk about and what she won't before they go on air. Just like I don't believe she was all in it, just forced and a victim when it came to recording that, because I was there. And energy is one thing. Energy says something different than what the mouth says. The mouth lies, but energy does not. And the energy was not, I was forced. Just because she carried on, Keri, you carried on that energy and stood on business. So I think you should just stand on it now and rebuild your career off of you wanting to have a fresh start and leave that old negative energy in the past. Why revisit your grave to launch a new career? People who build towns on cemeteries and graves never prosper in the long run. You should have told them that's something that I won't discuss. All right. Most High Mother and Father God, please allow me to conjure up the spirit, soul, and collective energy of Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. Spirit, please allow me to conjure up the spirit, the soul, and collective energy of Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. I really love that name, Giselle. It's such a Southern Belle name to me. I just love it. So classy and sassy at the same time. Makes me think it should be a character's name on Dynasty. Giselle Devereaux. I'm here. I like the name Giselle. Beyonce. In my mind, I heard, Beyonce. In my mind, I actually see the dream that I had of her. I've had a couple of dreams of Beyonce before. One of them, I I don't want to say I think she stole some creative ideas from out of my brain in the 12th house. Another dream, though, I do believe she was teaching me something that was going to be useful for me today and in my future. She was showing me, never mind. Never mind. That's for the coven to know. Just at this moment, I understood what that dream means now in its entirety. All right. Beyonce, now that you're here, since you brought to my mind the dream where we met for the first time in the astral realms, Sistren, your old girl Keri, she's back. How do you feel about Keri being back? Bringing up the beef. How do you feel about that, Beyonce? How do you feel about Keri Hilson right now? Beyonce, Giselle knows. How do you feel about Keri Hilson reviving her career and discussing a moment that you didn't deserve? Beyonce was not out publicly bothering Keri Hilson. So the reason why the fans and everybody reacted that way, because it was like, girl, where did this come from? What? Where did this come from? She need to sit down. She faking. She need to go have some babies. The mother girls ain't even worth my time to talk about. Been getting money. You can go. She was going in. It was like, wait a minute. What Beyonce did to you? They were gassing Keri up, though. The men, the producers, they was gassing it. You guys, give me 1 second. I gotta go potty. All right, I'm back, and I had some food in my teeth the first time. I didn't even know, y'all. I had pepper in my teeth because I was eating this seafood salad I made. Y'all see them crabs and shrimp in there? Let me show you. Yes, child, a little seafood salad. The shells, that shrimp. I got crab meat. That's a little celery. Anyways, I might have something in my teeth again. Oh well. Nope. It was like Keri. That was strange. Okay, well, all right. Well, let's see how this goes. So, let's see what Beyonce has to say about Keri Hilson. Let me spray this so that I can get the energy of the sea in here. Thank you, Indigo Jones. I just saw your comment that says prayer sent. Probably talking about me having to take care of my elders who is worrying me. All right. Since I had to step out and use the restroom, let me get back in my zone. Beyonce, she says, I'm still here. Okay. Beyonce, talk to me, honey. How do you feel about Keri Hilson and this whole situation that she brought back up to light, into life, with her new, I believe, Breakfast Club interviews regarding the Turning Me On remix she made and the shot she took at you and her being forced to do it? Beyonce, how do you feel about everything that Keri Hilson is bringing up today? How do you feel about Keri Hilson, Beyonce? I'm so anxious to see how this reading goes, you guys. I'm on the edge of the seat. Hypothetically, but goodness, I'm anxious to see what these cards say. I have no idea where this is going to go, actually. First of all, and I feel like this is Beyonce talking, so you guys, this isn't me. Just imagine I'm Beyonce right now, as hard as that may be to do. I ain't talking about literal. I know. I could never but just use your mind, okay? This is Beyonce. First of all, it came out of nowhere. And whatever happened to your career, it's because you tried it. You guys thought that you were about to make Keri Hilson the next thing. And I say you guys because Timbaland, you was in on it. I remember Polo, whoever else was in on it. You guys thought you guys were going to be able to sneak her in between Beyonce and I guess Sierra, because that's who else they were saying that she took a diss at while she was going to hold the world. This is supposed to be Keri holding the world in her hands, but she got to shake Beyonce. Sierra's back here. I think she saw Sierra because they both from Atlanta, and Sierra's a great dancer, and Keri was a dancer. And then Beyonce is a great singer. Keri felt like she was a great singer. I actually didn't care for Keri Hilson's voice. I liked I like that song with Kanye, Love Knocks You Down. Something about her voice. I don't know. Anyways, those were the two girls that they said she took shots at, and Beyonce feels like you missed. You missed, and you got shut out. You shot and you missed. That's what Beyonce felt like. And if you thought you were going to surpass her, that was shut down quickly. That's all Beyonce. That's the present position. Keri's present career situation is because it got shut down. Because she tried, but she failed. And that's okay. A lot of us trash and fail. Underestimating situations, underestimating yourself. It's life. We learn from it and we grow from it. I think Beyonce feels like you were being gassed. Too quick with it. You thought you was in there. The problem was she feels like Keri rolled out there. She jumped out there. And this makes me think that, Keri, you did not have to. I also think that maybe one of the men, had a problem with Jay-Z and the strength that he was able to give to Beyonce. Since the men are involved, I'm going to say that their issue wasn't with Beyonce. Their issue was with Jay-Z and how he was able to help monopolize the industry for Beyonce. So the men, probably felt like the only way to take Beyonce down, is to go after Jay-Z. So Beyonce has support from Jay-Z. We're going to be the support for Keri. Because I think that whatever Jay-Z was doing in his early days, when him and Beyonce were building their empire and solidifying their power over the industry, that's what made the guys and the girls too. They had people shook back then. They had people envious because they were doing their power couple thing. I think Mrs. Carter, the album Mrs. Carter, came out right after this because Bow Down was on it. Yes. Beyonce said, what y'all not finna do is think I'm not the queen. And she popped her ish that whole album. Because it seems like the people were feeling away in the industry. When Beyonce and Jay-Z were in the heydays of building their empire, it seemed like it was war. And people were really feeling away because they had power and they were pushing through, running over people who were less weaker. And that's what power does. It consumes the weak. I'm a little bit biased towards power because I am very scorpionic. I have a Scorpio descendant, and that's a power planet. That's a power zodiac sign for the good, bad, or ugly because it's co-ruled by Mars. And what's more powerful than Mars energy? What's more forceful than Pluto and Mars together? Conquering, No matter what, at all costs, they will win. That's what they were on. And I'm not adverse to that energy, actually. In the past, they killed Keri Hilson. Not literally. She's alive. Her career. Death card in the past. And we're talking about Keri Hilson. Beyonce feels like we ended you a long time ago. Why is you here? Why is you here? Is this the resurrection? Is this the rapture? Beyonce like, is the rapture happening? Because why is the dead rising up from the grave? Beyonce like, y'all don't smell that. I smell decay. I smell embalming fluid. Look, the dead rising from the grave. But in reverse. I'm only laughing because of the fact that I just mentioned the dead rising from the grave, Judgment Day, and the rapture. And look, Judgment. In the near future, there will be no rising from the graves of anybody from Beyonce's cemetery. Anybody that Beyonce buried will stay buried. Period. They didn't just end your career physically. She ended it spiritually. Keri is trying to resurrect her career, but she will not resurrect her career the way she thinks she will. That ship has passed, Keri. Even Beyonce's day, her image is waning because we're older now, Keri. You're not about to launch this hot new career and then be A-list like you wanted to back then. This is very karmic. Death in the past, judgment in reverse in the near future. Look, this would be death in the past, but then the dead rising from the grave. That's supposed to be the natural order. You had a situation that stopped you permanently. If this was the near future and it was upright, I would say, well, from the ashes of the grave, she shall rise and have some sort of a career. She may make music, she may put out music, but it will not. I'm sorry. And Keri, everybody who was in on this situation is not going to agree with you about how it happened. Everybody is not going to co-sign the events the way you said so, Keri, because you, just like Esther, were a very, very, very in-demand songwriter. You and Esther Dean were peers back then. Not Esther was above you to force you into doing something. You were able to pop your ish like you did coming out as a new artist because you had already been making money and doing well writing music for other people. Keri, your beef with Beyonce came because you wrote Love in This Club, that verse on Love in This Club with Usher. Beyonce got it. She didn't credit you. Beyonce is well known for not giving credit to her songwriters and taking credit for writing songs. But I don't think that she took the song from you. It's not like she wrote the song. You wrote the song for her and she didn't give you some credit. You wrote the song. It might have floated around to a few people. Beyonce and her team picked it up. The rest was history. But you had written songs before for other artists. I'm curious to know if they were required to come out and give you props for writing it. How many people write songs for artists and we never know? So why was it Beyonce that you demanded to come out and honor or acknowledge the fact that you wrote that verse? I think that you felt away the moment you found out that Beyonce got it. And then when it became successful, it made you feel away because you were getting ready to come from behind the scenes of songwriting, of obscurity, and you wanted to be the star. A lot of songwriters are forced into songwriting because their labels won't support them being the star. But a lot of songwriters want to perform their own songs and be the star. So, Keri, you were coming out wanting the credit for everything that you've done to come to you because now you're a star. But that's not how the songwriting works in the industry. And if you're going to play the songwriting game, you got to play the songwriting game. And then when you come out as a star, just come out as a star. But don't get mad when the stars who are chosen to sing your songs are singing your songs because they're the stars. Because inside, you always wanted to be the star. That's not Beyonce's fault that you weren't chosen to be Beyonce or have her spot is what I'm saying. That's why, Keri, I don't agree with what you're doing. I get all the sides, but I understand that you were playing the industry game. If you're going to get in the industry and choose to be in the industry, play the game or rewrite it, but don't play the game and then get mad at the game. You played it. You played it. And you played yourself. I feel like Keri Hilson has a lot of inner angst about the fact that she excelled as a songwriter but did not excel as a star. And she feels like Beyonce took that from her because she felt like she was on her way to excelling as a star. I'm going to ask after I finish this spread if you ever would have. If you would have got that spot that you were hoping for if none of this ever happened. Keri Hilson is getting ready to put out music, crowning her. It's crowning Beyonce. Beyonce acknowledges that she's doing this because she's trying to revive her career. And that's why she's talking about all this stuff from the past. But Beyonce has ish going on right now. And I think she's a bit overwhelmed right now, burnt out. I do see that someone concocted, a man, Polo the Don probably because he's the producer. This is him putting the song together. Also the game plan. Yeah, this gonna make you this, and this. Well, look. This will be Keri and Esther writing the song together and being in one accord. One accord. One accord. Keri, this is why I don't like when people lie. I would have preferred she just came out and said, listen, I know she said she regretted it. Leave it at that. Don't say I regretted it, but they forced me. This is not forced. This is not the devil card. This is Polo the Don here. And yes, he had a vested interest in making you the Beyonce. Because look at how Jay-Z is benefiting from Beyonce. So probably all the men, behind the scene men, were looking for a woman to do the Jay-Z thing with. Keri, you were fine with it. Why? Because you too had a beef with Beyonce. One-sided, probably. But you had your own vested interest in this. This isn't a victim card here. Strength reverse would have been this. This would have been strength reverse. Look, hopes and fears, strength reverse. I'm good at what I do. I'm good at what I do. Because I know what the cards mean, and I know if her story was what it was, that she was forced, it would have been in the place of the Hierophant. These people are in agreement, listening, learning, getting the instructions so that they can carry them out. The bishops get the instructions from the Pope, and then they go and they carry them out. But they're in one. They're in agreement with the Pope, and they're bishops. And these bishops are equal to each other. Not an emperor and a bishop. 2 bishops, equal, same. So no, Esther did not force you. Polo didn't force you. He just concocted everything. If anything, he supported you in something that you wanted to do. That's why I don't see it for you. Hopes and fears, though. Now, I'm reading Beyonce and how she feels about you. She is acknowledging that you hope that people believe that you were forced into it. Hopes and fears, though, not external energy. This is why I can't respect Keri, even though I'm not a Beyonce stan. Y'all seen the readings I did on Beyonce. And for those of you who were in my Aaliyah seance, when I let Aaliyah use my body and my mouth, and she used it to read Beyonce for filth, I could have never come up with that stuff on my own. So this is not me standing for Beyonce. This is me saying I don't like this. Keri, what you should have said is, you know what? I was gassed and I was feeling a way about some things, and I should have handled it differently. Period. Outcome. Justice in reverse. This is unfortunate for Beyonce. Because in this situation with Keri Hilson, Beyonce is completely innocent. I've seen inside of Beyonce's closet, there isn't skeletons in there. There are graves in there. There are bodies, not just one skeleton. She got a cemetery in her closet. Keri is not a body that's in there that don't belong there. She probably the only body that does belong there. Unfortunately, the outcome of all of this is, for one, Beyonce, judgment in reverse, justice in reverse. She gonna definitely, because at first she had justice. Justice was on her side for ending your career. Whatever she does next is just vengeance. So Beyonce, there's justice and then there's vengeance. And I have crossed that line too. Because when it came to my ops, after they did what they did, I called down justice, but then I got triggered a few months later. And then I did a little bit more to make them suffer, to make sure. And that was vengeance. And I have to eat that. However it come back, I have to eat it, but I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it. Beyonce, you're going to have to eat it too. If you got the time to deal with Keri, and you probably don't, but you won't have to. Because the people that are in the industry with you guys, this is unfortunate for Beyonce because she was made to look like the bad guy in destroying Keri Hilson's career. And in this regard, she was done wrong. And she's still being done wrong. Because the same girl who tried her because she felt away, Beyonce didn't do anything to you. Nothing other than what she was known to do. And that's not give writers credit. And songwriters know that when they write a song and it starts floating, anybody can get it. You don't demand the artist give you credit when you write a song and it floats around. It's because it was Beyonce. And she was big. And now you want her to give you credit so that you can shine off of her. Keri, you like trying to shine on Beyonce. The first time you guys thought coming for her would help boost you. It didn't work. Now you're trying to revive your career off of her ending yours. And you're trying to make yourself look like a victim. That's unfair to Beyonce in this regard, because she didn't do anything inherently wrong to you, but you did something inherently wrong to her. And people are still going to find a way to be mad at Beyonce, because now you got the people who are supporting you because they feel like Beyonce has been put up on a pedestal. I've seen the comments. Beyonce ain't God. Da, 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 da. We support you, Keri. That's not fair for Beyonce, because she's not even the type to dress this stuff openly like this. But if she did, she wouldn't win anyways, because she's Beyonce. That's not fair. And Keri, that's why you're not going to be able to win. You know Beyonce got juju, and her ancestors protect her. Girl, judgment in reverse in your near future. After doing Aaliyah's reading, I shouldn't be sitting up here feeling bad for Beyonce, but right is right and wrong is wrong. Judgment in reverse. There are still many people in the industry who are loyal till death to Beyonce. That is a machine, and they are not going to let you rise your star off of a tower that was toppled a long time ago, and this is Beyonce's industry. That's why it's not a resurrection for you, Keri Hilson, and actually you're making people even more upset. I want to look in the death card in the past, because that's them putting the nail in your coffin. I wrote that song. I should get credit for it. This tells me you want it. Look, this is free will. There is nothing slave about the magician. The phrase for the magician tarot card is, I am, I will. I am, so I will. The magician is a magician. I am, so I will. It manifests things. This tells me you were gassed up. They were telling you were going to be number one. They told you they were going to take Beyonce's spot. And you had all the tools on the table to manifest this. That's why you had your arm up in the air for you going up, telling those other girls it's time for them to sit down. These are the men that was gassing you up. Hey, Life D. Gratitude to you too. And the stuff on the table is all the tools necessary. The resources. You had all the resources. At the time, they were giving you your flowers. Seems like it backfired. You went from the magician. Ra, 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 ra. Boo, boo, boo. More fire, more fire. Whoop that trick. Get him. Whoop that trick. You went from that to this. Look. A tomb and death. Instantly, you went from the magician to death. You didn't have to do that. You had a choice. You did not have to do that with this hangman in reverse. You were not hung from a tree. You were standing on the tree. The only thing that bound you was the fact that you weren't popping like you wanted to. This was supposed to make you pop. It was supposed to push you through. You were doing good. This was supposed to push you through. You stood on this tree that you said you were hung from. Keri, I'm clocking you. I clocked you before I started reading you. And that's why I don't see it for you, and neither will the industry. And on this regard, it's what you deserve. It's what you deserve. Because you did not have to do that. And Beyonce was doing what every other artist does. Their team finds songs that songwriters just write for somebody to pick up. I've written songs. I'm not a Keri Hilson. I'm not an Esther Dean. But I've written a song. And it was picked up by a label, one that you guys would know. And I wasn't told who it was for, but I knew who it was for. I believe they were trying to use it. Nobody told me this. I believe that they were trying to find material for Tinashe, because there was a moment when the label was trying to experiment with her sound and steer her towards R&B. And I wrote a song called All the Way. And I sold it to somebody in the industry who worked for a label. It wasn't used because I've never heard it before. But I had no idea who it was going to end up with because they bought it from me outright. I didn't keep any rights to it. I just sold it outright. It was my first time. If I would have heard it on the radio, there would have been nothing I can do except bop to it and tell people, hey, I wrote that. But whoever picked it up, if it did end up with Tinashe, that's like me accepting the payment for them to buy that song outright. I could have put conditions in there. I didn't know nothing about that back then. If I'd have heard that on the radio, no matter who I heard singing it, I couldn't call them up and say, hey, you need to give me credit for that because I wrote. They would be like, first of all, who are you? My label owns this song. Whoever they bought it from, thank you. But we own this song. You should ask for credits. You should have negotiated credits. And that's why I have the stance that I have, because as a songwriter, and I haven't sold another song since then. I started putting out my own material. I became an independent artist. I would never. I wouldn't mind writing songs for people now. And I don't need y'all to shop me out. Pay me. I'm going to negotiate some credits, some royalties, or publishing. But I don't need you to tell people. You can tell people you wrote it for all I care, as long as you pay me. Because I don't care to be the star. Because I am a star. I'm a star in many ways. But I say all that to say that is why I stand with Beyonce in this matter. And Keri, you're not telling the truth to the people. Esther Dean took it really easy with you in her recent response because she could have just outright said, Keri was not forced to do this. We co-wrote the remix together. She could have said that, and she kind of did. When she said, I wrote multiple verses for this remix, that one was chosen. Who chose it? That's all I'm saying. Love you guys. Bye. Don't hate me. I just don't hate me, you guys. Okay. For the people who hate Beyonce, don't hate me. Okay. Because I know you like to support people who hate Beyonce, but in this regard, Beyonce ain't wrong. She wasn't wrong to end her career back then. She wouldn't be wrong to end it again if she wanted to. All's fair in love and war. Bye.